Welcome back and hello if you are new. So this week I'm looking at an album that I have never really heard anything like this before, to be honest. Macabre are totally unlike any other death metal band out there. They combine elements of grind, death metal and punk with some of the stories that are based around some of the worst serial killers we've ever experienced in history. Now they're returning with their first album in I think 10 years, which is Carnival of Killers. So if you're not familiar with Macabre, they are a band, like I said, they kind of combine grind, punk and death metal, but their bread and butter is serial killers, and that's what I found really interesting and what kind of drew me to Macabre. And I have to hold my hands up, given I'm a death metal fan, I'd never actually listened to these guys before. Carnival of Killers is their latest album, and it really does kind of work like a who's who of the serial killer world. I love kind of listening to the album and then matching up what song I think is on the album cover, because the album cover basically acts like a Where's Wally version of the serial killers. And there's like little things that you can hear both in the songs and you can see on the artwork that kind of give you little clues as to who this might be. And that was kind of like one of the fun things I enjoyed about this record, for sure. So the band move between two styles. When it's not that pummeling crazy death metal, it's this really weird nursery rhyme sort of idea. And they have these melodies that I think makes it so much more sinister, because obviously you always associate nursery rhymes with, innocence and children and all this sort of stuff, and it has this sort of sickly sweet juxtaposition with all the horrific things that they're singing about that these serial killers did. Vocally, the band move between this sort of screechy pantomime style on Your Window is Open and also Tea Cakes. But then there's also this kind of really low down barbershop style on Them Dry Bones, and of course the growling and gurgling on Slaughterhouse. I think that the variety of vocal performances that are on display here add to that sense of the schizophrenic, deranged identity that so many serial killers have. The guitar work is either really, really technical or incredibly simple. And sometimes when it's simple, it really does follow the vocal melodies as well. So for example, Joe Ball Was His Name is this track that has gotten stuck in my head so much because it's just Joe Ball was his name, do. I think they use the idea of what nursery rhymes have. It's a really simple melody, but it's really easy to remember. And I found myself sort of wandering around the house singing this and not knowing how it even happened. Joe Ball was his name, Joe Ball was his name, Joe Ball was his name. Stinky, because of all the dead boys. It's stinky, dinker girls only boys. But on the other side of things, the guitar can also be quite technical, it's quite dissonant, and it can be quite chromatic in its sort of scales that it goes up and down. But then at other times it's very punky, as we've seen on Warte Warte, which is an entirely German song. I'd say, there are a couple of tracks like Lake of Fire or Richard Speck Grew Big Breasts that are kind of maybe following the more natural side of what I would deem to be songs. But that's not to say that the others aren't, anywhere as good, but it just makes it a little bit harder to follow and almost makes the song seem a little bit like little skits. And there's some really, really cool guitar solos, actually. Some of the guitar solos on this were really classic rock led, and was a big, big surprise for me, to be fair. What I did really like about this album, and it's a bit of a morbid fascination for me, but is the whole serial killer aspect of it. And finding out that the various different tracks are about the different serial killers and kind of putting them together. So I think, from what I can tell, you know, there's Richard Ramirez, Joe Ball, Leonarda Cianciulli, who actually made The People She Killed into soap, which is pretty crazy. Henry Holmes, who had the House of Horrors. Bottom line, the album might be fun, and it's definitely different, but I don't know if I could see myself returning to this a lot. However, if you are a fan of the mad and the downright deranged, then I think you'll probably find a lot of good fun to be had with Macabre's Carnival of Killers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review. I'd love to hear if you guys have denoted any serial killers that I've missed out on here. Some of them are really difficult to find out. And please do give me a like and a subscribe if you can. Take care, my friends.